For Vermonters, winter is the best time of year. People enjoy sledding, walking, skiing, many things. But what if that all came crashing down? What if a mole of snowflakes came to Vermont?
Yay! More snow to sled in!
What would actually happen if a mole of snowflakes came to Vermont is something too terrible to even imagine. Before we begin, you must understand how big each snowflake is on average. Each snowflake is approximately 1 millimeter in diameter, this way and that way. Together, this makes them 1 square millimeter. When setting up this dimensional analysis, you must first start by laying out the units. Begin with mole snowflakes times, because this is the amount that you are multiplying the entire equation by. Next, you set up the division. The numerator for the first division component should be snowflakes, because that is how many snowflakes you are trying to find out. On the denominator, the bottom, you should write mole snowflakes. This is because you already know how many moles of snowflakes there are, and you want to find out how many snowflakes there are in that said amount of moles. The next division you set up, you multiply everything previously by. The numerator must be square millimeters. This is because, again, you are trying to find out. The denominator is snowflake. This is because you already know that there is 1 snowflake, and you want to find out how many square millimeters. The next step is to start adding your values. For the first component, mole snowflakes, you add 1, because you are multiplying 1 mole of snowflakes, not 2, not 3, not 400, but 1. Then you go over to the first set of division, when you have snowflakes as the numerator and mole snowflakes as the denominator. Above, in the numerator, you put 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd, Avogadro's number. This is because, as you will see from the bottom when you write 1 mole, that there are 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd particles of anything that there are in a mole. In this case, when we are dealing with snowflakes, that means that there are 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd snowflakes in said mole of snowflakes. As we go over to the next division problem, we write a 1 for the square millimeters and a 1 for a snowflake. This is because per 1 snowflake, the denominator, it is 1 square millimeter. Now that we have our dimensional analysis completely set up and ready to go, it is time for the real fun to begin. We first start by seeing that there are 2 units that are called mole snowflakes. We can cross both of those out, discarding that unit from the dimensional analysis. We then see that there's 2 more units that are both labeled snowflakes or snowflake. We can cross both of those out as well. Now you notice that we are left with only 1 unit, which is called square millimeter. This means that our answer will also be in the unit square millimeter because we have eliminated all other units. This works out perfectly because we are trying to find out how many square millimeters 1 mole of snowflakes is. We have all our units crossed out, leaving just with the one we want to know, and now it's time for the actual calculations. We see, either by using our brains or our calculator, that 1 times 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd over 1 times 1 over 1 is 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. When we match this up with our said leftover unit, our answer is that 1 mole of snowflakes is 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd square millimeters. Awesome! 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd square millimeters of snow to sled in! Do you really have any idea how much that is? If we had that much snow, there would be no hope for any of us. Vermont's land area is 9,249 square miles, or 47,520 square feet. We need to translate that into square millimeters in order to compare amount of snowflakes produced by 1 mole of them to the land area of Vermont, or to see how high the snow would be. There is 1.07639 times 10 to the negative 5th square millimeters in 1 square foot. To see how many square millimeters there are in Vermont, we divide this amount of square feet in Vermont by how many square millimeters are in 1 square foot. So you do 47,520 divided by 1.07639 times 10 to the negative 5th. Your answer is 4.4 times 10 to the ninth square millimeters that are in Vermont. The next step is to divide the square millimeters produced by 1 mole of snowflakes, or 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd square millimeters, by the square millimeters in Vermont, or 4.4 times 10 to the ninth. So 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd divided by 4.4 times 10 to the ninth is 1.37 times 10 to the 14th. You get this number by dividing 6.02 by 4.4, which gives you 1.37, and subtracting the exponents, 9 from 23, to give you 14. This number, 1.37 times 10 to the 14th, represents how many coats, or layers, this mole of snowflake can create over Vermont. So a mole of snowflakes can cover the area of Vermont's land 1.37 times 10 to the 14th times. Because each snowflake is 1 square millimeter, it is 1 millimeter high. Because there's 1.37 times 10 to the 14th layers of snowflakes, then that is 1.37 times 10 to the 14th millimeters high of how much snow we would get if there was a mole of snowflakes. We can convert this to easier terms in order to see how big that number really is. 1.37 times 10 to the 14th millimeters is the same as 137 million kilometers high. It is also the same as 85,127,853.3365 miles high. A mole of snowflakes would not only eliminate the ability to do all of these fun winter activities, but it would eliminate the ability for humans to live.